We are going to open up in the Serenity Prayer. So if you get, we'll put it on the screen. If you can join me along in it. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that He will make all things right if I surrender to your will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. All right. I've asked Chris to come up and read our mission statement.
Thank you. I'm Chris. I belong here. I'm a child of God. Yeah. Because he sought me and bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is due him. He plunged me to victory beneath. Oh, I was supposed to read the. Ah, yes. Our, yes. Our mission is to carry a message of love and hope to those suffering in their dependencies and addictions by inviting them to a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. At R&R, we carry our love and hope to others by first acknowledging the love and hope that we have received. Many of us have suffered through our own addiction. Some of us have lost family relationships, lost self respect, and ended on a road leading to unabated bondage and death until we found a power greater than ourselves, God, through a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Chris. Um, First time, I like to go first, second, or third time. If you fall in that category, we'd like to get to know you a little more. Maybe just introduce by your first name. Is there anyone first, second, or third time here? No. Yes, right here. What's your name? Bobby. Welcome, Bobby. Mike. Mike. Michael. Welcome, Michael. And Daniel. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Um, with that, I believe it's recovery birthdays next. Is that right, Ryan? Oh, bathroom. Okay. Bathroom. If you don't know already, for men, right when you go out the door, just keep on going. You'll run right into it. Women, hang a left down the corridor on the left-hand side is the women's restroom. Um, Smoking. Smoking. I always say if you smoke, you should quit. I quit a while ago, and I'm actually about 5 days off of my nicotine lozenges as well. So I'm a little fidgety. I got gum in my mouth. I'm still trying to. I got off the cigarettes, and then I was on those for almost a year, and then now I'm off those. So, yeah, yeah. So save some while they're prescriptions, so they weren't too expensive. I think that's why. But if you do smoke, please go behind the church offices over there. There's a little ashtray. We just ask that you dispose of them and keep our campus nice and clean. It's a picture right up there. Prayer cards. Do we have someone doing prayer cards? Diana. She's going to come around with prayer cards. We strongly believe in the power of prayer here, guys. So if you have a prayer request or a praise request, we can always give God praise for answered prayers or things going good in our life. And we love to lift that up as well. So you can write either one of those down on this prayer card. She'll put it on the red, the table with the red drape on it. You can return it back to there. And we do have a team that prays over these weekly, guys. So keep your hand up. She'll come around and give you one. Donations, recovery birthdays. I'm all sorry, Tony. We're doing birthdays. I'm all recovery birthdays. We like to celebrate anything from a day to months to years. So if there's anyone with a recovery birthday, raise two hands because one hand's for the prayer card. Anyone with a recovery birthday? No one over here. Recovery birthday. None. All right. Well, who's happy for today? Right. Um. Next, I believe, is donations. If not, we're gonna do donations. Tony's gonna come around with the donation basket. You know, it takes a little bit to have the bands, the food, to keep these things going. So whatever you donate is not only put to great use, it is much appreciated, and we can continue to always keep these doors open on Friday nights. So Tony will come around with the donation basket with that. Thank you. Recovery related Bible studies. We offer two here. There's on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. It is co-ed. You can come right here in this room. If you're not able to make it in person, you can talk to Bruce later, and he has a Zoom link. You can join via Zoom and link into that one. If Tuesdays don't work, we got one on Thursdays. That one's with Andy right back there, 6:30. That one is Zoom only. So if you want the Thursday one, you go find Andy and get the Zoom link from him. Step Closer. So that's our Sunday church service. It's not just recovery. It's a lot of it's in recovery, but it's a very good church service right upstairs on Sundays if you'd like to join us. Anyone in the VA, if you're a part of the VA and we brought you here tonight, we also do that for Sunday morning for Step Closer. So I don't know if it's too short of notice, but maybe for next week, you talk to the facilitators and we'll make sure to get you here and back as well on Sundays. That's from 9 to 10:30. Yeah, of course. Oh, and with that, how many veterans do we have in the house? All right, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you guys. From what I believe in the beginning of the ministry, that was the heart of this ministry, right? Was the veterans. So we really appreciate you guys being here. I believe that's it for announcements, huh? Oh, Rick Toker, sorry. Off script announcement. But it flows right into it. The vets, we do pick them up, guys, and it takes drivers, and we can get you on the van, the insurance, or you can take your personal car. But Rick has a list. It isn't a weekly commitment. You're just on a rotation to get called every once in a while. And I do it. I love it. I love having the vets there. So if you sign up, it really helps us keep getting them here. So he'll pass the sign up sheet around and just sign it, and we'll get it back to you, Rick.
Yeah, you explained it a lot better than I
Okay. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, with that, I'm going to bring up our speaker. Let's give it up for Bruce.
Shopping. It could be, scrolling on Amazon. It could be all sorts of things that when we are not feeling right, we turn to them for comfort, right? And we don't even think about it. It just happens. And so triggers aren't just for drugs and alcohol, but for tonight, it's mostly about drugs and alcohol. But these principles can be used in anything that takes that gives you comfort when you're not feeling right, right? When things aren't feeling right, I need something. I need something to fill. And you know that what that is, right? It's a hunger for God. That's what that is. That feeling that when we try to go to other things to make us feel right, it's because we're looking for God. The guy that discipled me um, used to say this saying that every time a man goes knocking on a bordello door, he's looking for God. And most people say, "What's a bordello?" because that's like 40s talk. Like before, bordello is like a house of prostitution, right? So every time a man does that, he's looking for God. So we're always looking for God. God is the only thing that satisfies, and when we're not satisfied, we go to other things except for God. And God's like, "Hey, I'm right here. I'll give you more joy and peace than you've ever imagined. Not Budweiser or cocaine or whatever it is that you go to, pornography or whatever it is." Um, and so we're going to be talking about triggers tonight. And so the first thing I'm going to do is define it. What's a trigger? Well, we know it's a thing on a gun that you do to shoot the bullet, right? It's a trigger. So triggers are something that will put us in the mindset to want to go and comfort ourselves, right? Psychiatrist Dr. Chad Corrin defines a trigger as any high risk situation or stressor that sparks off a thought, feeling, or action to use drugs or alcohol. This spark, which is experienced as a temptation to use, is called a craving or an urge. Triggers lead to cravings, and urges lead to use. So you can see it doesn't go straight to use, right? So there's a process in the middle of this. So what we need to do is learn to recognize that process when it's happening so that we can stop it, right? It's kind of like you're going on a roller coaster and you go click, 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 click. I mean, once you're, up to here, there's a chance to stop. But once you're over, it's too late, right? And that's when you've already taken the drink and, and people are like reaching for the phone, trying to call their sponsor as they're going down the the other side, going down the hill. It's too late. Help! Too late, right? Um, so, and one of the thing about the 4-step in the recovery is that it kind of it teaches us like how we operate. It shows us how we operate. It shows us how we operate all the time, and we need to know, because everything's on automatic pilot. It just happens, right? We just automatically do it. It's just like when you go and get into a car to first drive it, you're like, oh, be careful, and right. But now you just jump in and it automatically happens, right? The same thing happens with habits and things like that, right? The same thing happens that we don't even know it's happening. So the 4-step is really good for me because I got to see how I operated. And every time it was the same thing when I was doing resentments, whatever I was doing, it all came down to fear of something um, that caused my discomfort, right? And so what it did was it taught me, hey, every time I start going down this pattern, I start blaming people, I start complaining, I know I'm going down the wrong path and I have time to correct it. So if we just recognize our patterns when we're going down the wrong road, we can recognize it and change the road we're on. That's what the 4th and 5th step did for me, was to see that, oh my God, every time I do this, I do this. Every time this happens, I do this. So I got to break that pattern in the middle before it's too late, because it gets to the point where it's too late. You can't do it now. So we need to really recognize when it's happening, right? So triggers are just something that, I mean, it could be whatever. Sometimes I drive by, um, what's the name of that street in Menlo Park, off the freeway there? What is it? Oh, well, Willow. If you go down Willow, that's where the crack people all were for years and years. Every time I drive by there, I get the heebie-jeebies. That's a trigger, right? I get this like feeling, and sometimes I get a taste in my mouth because I remember what that was when I would go get my drugs and things like that. What's that? Yeah, so it's a trigger. Just driving by there is a trigger. Driving through that neighborhood is a trigger for me. But I'm pretty strong now, where it's not like gonna take me out. But I'm not gonna go hang out around there, right? I'm not gonna hang out in that town. I'm gonna drive through it because I have to drive through it to get where I'm going. So we know what a trigger is, and now we're gonna talk about um, some triggers. But before we do that, um, because when you're in recovery, you start to get, I don't know, anybody that's like in their first 6 months, you're on this pink cloud, everything's great and new and fresh and exciting, but eventually that goes away and it becomes mundane, unless you continue to do what you've been doing vigorously doing your recovery. So 1 Corinthians 10:13, well, I'm going to start with 12. It is actually my favorite verse in scripture. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. And being in recovery, there's a saying, it's called, what's it called? Darn it. Man, I'm getting old. I can't keep remembering things. Terminal uniqueness. All right. Terminal uniqueness means that if you went through the same things I went through and had the same pressures in my life, you would do the same thing you would use too. That's terminal uniqueness. Nobody understands. I'm the only one like this, but this squashes that. It's saying there's no temptation that's not common to mankind. So every feeling and urge and thing you've had in your life is common to man. So don't start going, oh, you don't understand. Mine's different than. No, there's someone else has gone through it and gone through it worse. So we got to get off that terminal uniqueness thing, right? Because we're all in the same boat. We're all sinners. We're all broken sinners, but we can't tell ourselves that nobody knows the dilemma I've been in. That's not true. There's always someone who's had it worse, right? And so don't give me that terminal uniqueness to me, because I will squash it like a bug if I can. So anyway, because I did it myself, right? I was the same way. And this verse here is what helped me to get over that, to remember that everything that I've gone through, someone's gone through before, and probably multiple people are going through it at the same time. Boom. All right. Tell me if I'm getting too preachy. What's that? Oh, and I'm doing them. I had a lot of fun. I'm doing all these transitions, and yeah, you'll see. It was fun to do, right? I only do that if I have time, and I happen to have some time today. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to make it fun." So, common relapse triggers, and these aren't all of them, but they're some of the most common ones that you're going to run across. And so, I want to just run you guys through these. And as I was doing this, because I taught this before, the same thing, which is why I had time to put these transitions in. Um, but a lot of it was just identifying these triggers, but I didn't have a lot of solutions for them, right? So when you have a trigger, you need to have a solution. You need to have a solution ready for when that hits you. And excuse me, I'm whistling because I got this extra tooth. Kelly the other day, I know Kelly loves it. So hey, it's better than if I didn't have my tooth in, right? I don't know. We'll see. It's not much better, but for me, it's better. So excuse the whistle. When I get my temporary, I won't have to worry about it. Okay, first one, first trigger is becoming overconfident. Who's struggled with becoming overconfident? Anybody? Okay, just checking. I did, and I think most of us do. And it's not just in recovery, it's in our walk with the Lord. We become, oh, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm done with that part of my life. And then next thing you know, boom, you did it again. And you're going, oh God, why did I do that again? I didn't want to do that. I told myself I was never going to do that again. And here I am again, right? So it's just not drugs and alcohol. It's anything, right? It's any kind of behavior that is unbecoming to God. So becoming overconfident is usual for addicts to suffer from low self-esteem. So developing a bit of confidence is a positive thing. If people become overconfident, though, it can become dangerous for them, particularly in early sobriety. Right? It's like, hey, I've been clean for 6 months. Is this being? It is being recorded, but you won't know who I'm talking about. I have a good friend of mine. We partied together, and we for years and years. And I got clean and sober, and he didn't. And then I had some time under my belt, and then I was meeting with him, and he had like 3 months, and he's like, I'm doing all the work here. My wife is doing nothing. I was like, I can't believe he's saying that. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? You've been dragging her through the mud for decades, and you got 3 months, and now you're saying that she got to do some work. And I just and he we didn't speak for like 3 weeks because he was so mad at me because I was just laughed at him. I'm like, you're out of your mind. What are you talking? So that's what happens to us, right? 3 months, I got it handled, and everyone else is. So anyway, and he knows who he is if he ever watches this recording. Sorry, brother, if that's you, if you're watching. This often happens when the individual is dealing with the pink cloud syndrome, right? Look, when I came here, the first time I came here, I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing here. And then 6 months in, I'm like, man, there was some magic going on in my life, right? It was just like, I loved coming here. Everything was just exciting, and recovery was exciting. But after a couple years, that excitement isn't there anymore. The newness and the freshness isn't there anymore. As a matter of fact, I still to this day have to go, man, I'm trying to get myself back in that mindset when I was back then, just hungry and wanted my life to change and everything was awesome. But what happens in that pink cloud syndrome is we get really cocky and we say, I got this, I got no problem. I can go hang out at the bar um, or whatever, or I can go drive down Willow Road in my case. No, I still can't drive down that road very much. Um, become convinced their problems are over. They maybe come to the conclusion that they no longer need to put much effort into their sobriety. This means the individual stops doing those things that have been helping to keep them sober, which is what I did. All right, I had 7.5 years, and I relapsed after 7.5 years because I stopped doing what I was doing. Right, I stopped self-examination and stopped all this, and then plus I got um, a girlfriend, and that didn't help at all. I shouldn't had no business having a girlfriend at that time. And anyway, and then we got engaged, and it was just a big mess because I was not ready for that kind of stuff. Um, so, uh, so you stop doing it, right? And it happens. A lot of guys have a girlfriend, everything else goes out the window. It's just all this, just the girlfriend, right? Uh, it happens, and boyfriends, if it's a woman, it's the same thing, right? We get tunnel vision now. All of a sudden, it's like forget everything else, and forget all the things that made you even attractive enough to be dated, right? And then you stop doing them, right? And then all of a sudden, you're back to not attractive. Matter of fact, I know for a fact my wife would have never had anything to do with me before I got clean and sober. Absolutely no way. And it's because of what God's done in my life, right? What'd you say over there? It's true. No, she'll tell you. So, what's the solution for becoming overconfident? Family, friends, support groups, therapists, if you have one, or a counselor or some kind of. But we need to be with people, and so that they can see our behaviors, because we don't see our own behaviors. Other people see it. And if you have people that you can trust, not just kind of like, hey, how's the weather? How's the Giants doing? Or what about that World Cup? That's not real fellowship. That's not real accountability. Real accountability is getting together with people and telling each other the truth. And I've been involved in those kind of groups ever since I got clean and sober. And I still am, because I'm still messed up, right? I still am. And I try not to be overconfident, but sometimes I think I know everything, and ask all my friends and everybody, and I think I know it all sometimes, right, Kelly? Yeah. And I do most of the time, but not quite all the time. Uh, so all these play a vital role in providing emotional support and stability, open communication, vulnerability, and a willingness to seek help when feeling overwhelmed are essential, right? So we need to be in the business of our recovery. We need to be doing those things that nurture us and nurture our soul. And then, another layer on that is, you know, if you go to an AA meeting, it says our primary purpose is to help people those achieve sobriety and help others achieve sobriety. But there's more than that, right? This is why we meet here, because there's more than just not drinking, right? It's all I wanted to do when I came here was stop drinking. But the steps are designed to change the whole person, not just stop drinking, right? And you can, and if that's all you want and that's what you get, that's up to you. But you are missing out, right? You are selling yourself short. God has so much more to offer us than just being clean and sober, right? It's changing all the behaviors, right? And I mean, I've been clean and sober for 21 years, and I'm still messed up in a lot of different ways, right, hun? Yeah, see, she'll tell you. But she still dates me though. So, or wait, we're married. Never mind. All right. So becoming overconfident, we know what that. So it's just doing the things you've been doing to get you to the place you are at 6 months sober or 3 months. Ooh, did you see that transition? That was cool. Feeling full of self pity. Anybody? Self pity? Okay, yeah. See, and it's not just people in recovery, it's everybody. We all do, oh, why me? God, why is this happening to me? As long as everything's going good, we're good. Hey, God, we love you. And then something happens, it's like, God, why are you doing this to me? I don't deserve it. And most of the time, I think we do think we deserve it. And so, self pity. AA, they describe self pity as a pour me, pour me, pour me a drink. Self pity can be defined as pitying oneself in an exaggerated or overindulgent manner, which is me, which is, it's like, oh, and that goes in with that terminal uniqueness. Oh, poor me. Nobody has it like me, and this is so bad. God, why? Right? We always ask God why, right? You guys see the long version of the Serenity Prayer? It's not here, but it says, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. That's completely counter to our thinking, right? When we have difficulty, we think something's wrong. Oh no, God's like trying to teach you something. He's right, and that's the way I was. My hair's on fire. Something's wrong. No, God's like, oh no, I'm trying to teach you something here, right? And Andy always used to say, if you don't learn the lesson now, you're going to get it again, and you're going to keep getting it till you learn it. And then once you do learn it, you'll get it again, and you'll fail and get better at it. And um, forget the self pity, get off the pity potty, right? We talk about so wasted emotion in recovery because it makes the individual powerless and unwilling to deal with the real cause of their problems, right? It's like, I'm just going to feel pity, and instead of finding the solution. And the solution is practicing gratitude, right? What has God given you? I recently became a step grandpa, and I will see men with their child, or I see it on the TV, and I see, and because I never had kids, my own kids, and I see them like having fun with their baby, and it's something that I never experienced, and I have a regret about it, right? And I get this kind of like, oh, poor me, I didn't have no kids, and God's like, hey, look at all the stuff I done for you. At least you have a step granddaughter, and you have a stepdaughter, and you have tons of people in the ministry that love you and you love them. Well, maybe not all of you, but a lot of you love me, I think. You may not like me, but yeah, it's all right. Thanks. Uh, but 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 the thing is that that's what keeps you out of self pity is gratitude. To go, Lord, thank you for this, thank you for that, thank you for my sobriety. I couldn't stay clean like even a week for 20 years, right? And now I've been clean for 20 years, and it's like, man, I need to be grateful for that. Not to mention all the other blessings in my life, right? I got my truck got totaled, and I had the wherewithal to buy another vehicle. Right? There was a time where if you wreck my car, I'm done. Right? And that was it. I never saved no money, none of that stuff. It was just by the seat of my pants. Right? Put in more than $5 in my gas tank. Oh hell no! I need money for drugs and alcohol, man. I mean, you know how many times my car ran out of gas, man? It was like 100 times at least. And I always had these big hoopties, right? You can't push because they're so heavy, right? Uh, so anyway, so just that's something to be have gratitude for. That hey, I don't have to live that way anymore. God has raised me up to where I'm semi-responsible, right? And then hey, if we all think about it, we're semi-responsible, right? We really are. Yeah. I'm a lot, how they say it. I'm not the man I used to be, but I'm not who I want to be, but I'm not the man. Thank God I'm not the man I used to be, because I wasn't the man before. I was a little child, trying to scratch and claw my way through life, right? And when I finally took responsibility for myself, when it's like it's not, hey, it's someone's fault or my dad beat me, or which is true, but that there's no excuse, right? There's no temptation that sees you except what's common to man, right? So, all right, check out this transition. How's this one going to go? Ooh, fell over. Ooh, sorry. I know. It's fun doing this. All right, unrealistic expectations. Yeah, I put a different transition on every one, I guess. Anyway, unrealistic expectation can be one of the most common triggers for a return to addiction, right? Oh, I should have a car and a girlfriend and be married by now, and all these. Right? We think that everything should be turned around in a week, right, or 3 months, like my friend. Um, uh, when people give up an addiction, they justly expect for their life to improve, right? And it will. If you stop drinking, your life will improve, right? And as a matter of fact, when I'm like, I got to pay my insurance, I got to pay the PG&E, I got to fix the roof of my house, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm like, how did I ever function when I was an alcoholic and addict? I didn't. I didn't get any of that stuff done. It all just went out of the wayside, and so I can barely keep up with all the details of life clean, much less, right? I mean, seriously. Um, and so unrealistic expectations, and a lot of people have it come into recovery. Talked about the people coming from the VA and other programs, and because I've been here for 21 years, I've seen the pattern. I've seen the pattern to come in, and the first priority is a girlfriend. I need a girlfriend. That'll fix everything, and then I need a car. I need a job, and in that order, right? And but it's not right. Put God first, and He will direct everything else. We don't think it will. We think I got to make sure I'm set. Seek God; He will take care of you. And just trust Him. When people give up addiction, it is less reasonable to accept that things will improve overnight without any real effort. Right? I'm just not drinking. That's it. Right? I'm not. I'm not. It's not enough. Right? I'm still lying and cheating, and whatever, late all the time. I mean, I used to be late everywhere. It didn't matter what, or I didn't show up. It was late or didn't show up. Now I'm late sometimes, but not to the degree that I used to be. And because I have this ministry I have to do, and I'm here for all the times that I'm supposed to be. And I never could have done that before. Um, the individual will have to work hard to create the type of life that they want for themselves. It's not just going to happen. You're just not going to get it and look at the guy. Hey, I like his life. I want my life to be like his. How come it's not? Well, because you aren't doing the work they're doing, right? You need to do the work. You need to do the work, and the work is giving it all to God. That's the work, right? Is to give it all to God, because He will take care of it. I'm not just saying this because I read it or because it happened in my life. I put Him first in front of everything. I seeked after Him with all my heart and all my strength, and He changed my life. And I think, that people that don't experience that are just, I feel so sad because there's so much God has to offer us. Just so much. All right. How do you combat unrealistic expectations? Practicing self-compassion, breaking goals into small, achievable steps. Right? I mean, I still have this problem. Right? It's like I'm going to do like I got to get to work in 20 minutes, but I got to do this and this and this and this before I leave the house, and wonder why I'm late and why I get mad on the freeway. Right? And when I'm on the freeway, When I get mad because people are going too slow or whatever, it's my fault. And I just say the serenity prayer: God, grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change. I can't change the fact that I'm late right now. I can't change this guy, this jerk that's driving in front of me, which if I wasn't late, he wouldn't be a jerk. But you get what I'm saying, right? But accept, change the things that I can, right? Give me the courage to change the things that I can, which is get up earlier, leave earlier. Don't try to vacuum the living room 5 minutes before I got to leave or whatever it is, something like that, right? I can't. I'm like ping pong, right? This, because I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff done in time, and I have unrealistic expectations sometimes, and when you're in recovery, it's even worse, right? I mean, I'm in recovery, but when you're like just newly clean, you got to really be patient and trust the process, and then listen to people that have gone before you, because they're not going to tell you, hey, I snapped my finger and everything was great. No, they're going to tell you that it was a long, slow process, and God started to change me over time, and my life started to improve over time. It wasn't this instant thing, right? Giving up alcohol and drugs is a vital step, but it is only the start of the process. That's just the beginning. We think that's it. Oh, I've stopped drinking. That's it. I'm done. No, it's not true, because you're just going to drink again. If that's your mindset, right? You're going to drink again because something's going to trigger you. What else? Oh, shift your focus from rigid, distant outcomes to daily controllable effort. So today I can do this. I don't have to clean my whole garage out today, right? Or clean my whole storage unit out today. Because I'm like, and you never do it because it's just too much work. But if you just go, okay, today I'm just going to work on this a little bit. Today I'm going to work on that little bit and achieve that. Not, I'm going to try to do it all, and then when I don't get close to that goal, then I feel bad, and and then I just give up, right? And so, unrealistic expectations. When you feel overwhelmed or disappointed, use that as a cue to pause and adjust your expectations to your current capacity. All right, we only have a certain capacity, and the thing is that some people have capacity for like way over that I have. I think I have a pretty good big capacity of being able to do some things, but I run across people that are in this that work in this church that like blow me away, right? But I got to adjust to my capacity, not their capacity, my capacity, right? So don't do that to yourself. It's not, God doesn't, how do they say Rome wasn't changed in a day? Right? Is that what they say? Is that what it goes? Built, sorry. Nor was it changed in a day. I kind of was. But Jesus showed up. Ooh, look at that, the curtains. I figured if the message sucked, at least that was entertaining, right? Because they say that when you're doing, they're going, sometimes it can distract your message, but hey, I had fun. All right, so Matthew 11:8-30 says this: Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And we have these big expectations, and they're not coming through. Let it go. Give it to him. He will just take it, right? It's the hardest thing to learn, right, Kelly? Right? To think that I just don't got to like work harder and get no, it's to work less, to work hard at giving it to God, right? And that doesn't take time. Takes praying. It takes talking to people. It takes coming up here in front and sharing when it's sharing time, because that will heal you. When you're transparent in front of people, because you don't have to hide anymore, right? I'm out there. I don't have to hide anymore, right? And man, I'll tell you, once I did my fourth and fifth step, it's like I didn't have to hide anymore. And now I just, everybody knows how nuts I am and dysfunctional, but hey, that's okay, because that's who I am. That's right. With the whistling and all. Lying and other forms of dishonesty, right? And this is a big one for recovery people, right? Dishonesty. You ever like tell lies and you're just like, why did I tell that lie, right? Why did I have to embellish? Because it's to try to make ourselves look better or feel better about ourselves or whatever, right? And we do lies without even realizing it, especially when you recover. You don't even realize you're lying. I mean, I was such a liar, and I was a good liar because I looked honest and I didn't, at least that's what people said. They didn't. So I was a good liar because they didn't think I was lying, right? So that's a really hard one. And I know people that it took for years for them to stop that, right? I mean, that's someone who I knew was in recovery for years and actually was somebody who I kind of emulated in recovery. And he got busted switching price tags on things in the store. You're like, what? You're just kind of like, hey, yeah, right? Um, and and you're like, how does that happen, right? How do because you're not really living out the principles of this program when that stuff happens, right? Because that kind of brokenness will come out one way or another if you don't do something about it, right? When people enter recovery, they're making a decision, right? Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God, to have a more honest approach to life. While trapped in the midst of addiction, the individual will have been trapped into delusion and denial. In order to maintain the addiction, they would have also needed to behave dishonestly. Did anybody here an addict that not behave dishonestly? Anybody that didn't happen to? No, right? And still today, and I think even the worst part is not like lying to you, it's lying to myself, right? That I'm further along in this process than I think I am, or I'm more godly and holy than I think I am. Those kind of things, right? So we need to be honest with ourselves. I mean, we do need to be honest with each other. They call cash register honesty. That needs to be there, but honesty with who we are. And when you come to the fourth step and fifth step, you become honest in the fourth step to go, this is who I am. This is all the brokenness I am. And that's why everyone's so scared of the fourth step. Like I was. I had 7.5 years. I didn't do the fourth step. But it's because I don't want people to know who I am. I don't want to know people that I'm so messed up, right? But everyone is. Not just you. Everybody in this world is messed up and have done messed up things. And they may do less messed up things than you right now, or different messed up things, but every one of us is broken, and so we just need to be honest and tell God who we are. He already knows, right? But he wants us to acknowledge it, right? Uh, if people become sober, continue to behave in this way is usually a sign that they are caught in a dry drunk, they call it, right? It means I'm sober, I'm not drinking, but my behaviors are still the same. It means they are physically sober, the behavior is just as it's always been, right? And I've seen people that go to meetings over and over and over and over, and nothing has ever changed in their life for decades. I've seen it, right? Same stories, same thing, drinking the coffee, saying the, if you're in a meeting like that and you're part of it, get out of it, because that's not the meeting you want to be in, right? You want to be in the meeting where they're going, you know what? I'm messed up. I screw up all the time. That's the guy I want to be around, right? Not the guy that tells the same story and the same cliches and the same. And so it's your responsibility to find a meeting where it's not like that, where it's fresh and people are being transparent and all that kind of thing, right? Um, Dishonesty prevents them from finding real happiness and recovery. Why do we lie? Because we're trying to make things more comfortable for ourselves, or more, I don't know, easier for ourselves. But in fact, it's the opposite, right? If you walk around being dishonest, and I lied to you, now I got to lie to that guy to keep that lie covered up, and that lie, it just never ends, man. And I just don't do it anymore. I don't, except I still lie to myself sometimes, but I try not to. And believe me, I have not um, arrived yet. So a solution for lying and dishonesty is identify the why. Why am I lying? Right? Just check your motives. Why am I lying? What am I getting out of this? Right? So people will think I'm going to tell them a story and embellish a little bit, so they'll think I'm cooler, or I don't know. Right? We all do it. Right? You ever done that? You're especially like a couple or something, or two be on there. Like one of them will be telling the story, and you're like, did it happen? They're adding stuff, and they're like, yeah, and he flipped on his head, and the car rolled 15 times. He came out, he's like, that never happened. So, but we do the same thing, right? Do that. It's like, yeah, it's like, and then, yeah, because like my wife and I will go somewhere and we're telling the story, and I'm like, that's not how it happened. And I got to jump in and say, right? Yeah. Yeah. No, no. I correct her. I wait until we get to church and then I correct her. Yeah, just kidding. No, I don't. I don't. No, I'm just saying. Are you sure? How do I do it? What do I do? Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm pretty good about it. And she's still married to me, right, after 14 years. So yeah. And you know what? In through this room and through what God did is the one that takes credit for that, not what I did. It's what God did. God's the one that put the marriage together. He's the one that keeps it together, and I can't take credit for it because I'm messed up, you know? Yeah. So anyway, all right. This is a tough one. Symptoms of depression, and because I don't have depression, right? I mean, I've suffered from it when I was in my addiction, and I'm slept a lot and stuff. But clinical depression, I don't have any experience with that in my life, right? That where it's constant and constant. And so I'm not going to tell you I know exactly how to get out of it. Some people will go, you just need to pray to God really hard, and He'll take your depression away. No, sometimes it takes medication. Sometimes it takes years, and sometimes you may never completely be rid of it, right? You may never completely be rid of it. But God is in control. And if you believe God's in control, He's allowing that to happen for some reason. And so, I don't want to just come up here and glibly say, just, pray and God will get rid of it. That's not true. I'm glad I don't. And I know some people that have clinical depression, and I don't know that much about it, right? Because I don't experience it, but I know it's really prevalent in recovery. Um, this can occur in early recovery as a result of withdrawal symptoms. Post-acute withdrawal symptoms pause can last as long as a year. It can also be possible for the individual to be dealing with undiagnosed depression, right? So you need to get some help. If you're having depression, you can't shake it. God can heal anybody, right? But sometimes He wants to heal you through somebody else or through a method that He wants, right? So we have to do whatever we can. If you have depression, you have to own it. Say, yes, I suffer from depression, and I think that I think sometimes people are afraid to say it, that they struggle from depression because of the stigma that they get from doing it, right? But if you have suffer from that, it, there's it it's you're not unique, and there are some solutions to help you with it, right? First of all, if you stop doing drugs and alcohol, that will help a lot, right? But part of it too is that people that are dual diagnosis, that they go hand in hand, right? You can't. They need to be treated together at the same time. Ooh, I think I'm getting. Um, Solution for this is prioritize the NESTS framework, right? Nutrition, exercise, sleep, time for yourself, and supports. And supports would be counseling, therapist, doctor, whatever it is, right? Darn, I'm running out of time, huh? Shoot, I got a ways to go. Time is it? Okay, we're going to just speed through these now. Feelings of frustration in recovery. If things are not going as expected in recovery, it can mean that people feel frustrated. I have many, many times. These frustrations can mean that individual feels disheartened, and they may use this as an excuse to drink, right? I can't get a job. Things aren't going the way I wanted to, and I'm frustrated, and screw it. Why even try anymore? I'm just going to go drink. I did that before. I did that a bunch of times. So that's one of the triggers. Um, Nobody gets a free ride in life, and dealing with frustrations is something that people just need to learn how to do. I don't like that sentence. I didn't write that, but it's kind of like, just get over it. That doesn't work, right? Uh, but we are going to be frustrated, and so we shouldn't be thrown for a loop when we get frustrated. I'm easily frustrated. I do these micro block Lego things. There's like 7,000 pieces to build this little thing, and man, I'm telling you, you want to test your patience, you got to do there's a little thing to put in little tweezers and all that stuff. And sometimes I just want to throw that thing through the window, but it helps me to deal with that, to be patient. In that, I'm pretty patient. Customer service on the phone, not very patient. Yeah, oh my God. I was on with AT&T yesterday for like an hour, and they didn't speak English all the way, and I was just like, oh my God. But I made it through and did what I had to do. All right. So frustrations in recovery. And whoa, oh, I forgot. Did you like that one? Oh, I didn't change it before. Darn, sorry, folks. They're all like, what's he looking at? Oh, my back. All right. Matthew 6:33 to 34. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And I'm telling you, if anything else is your life is not working, you seek God and seek his kingdom first and foremost, he will change everything. That's what he did for me. I was like soaking up everything I could, find out about God, being in every group I could, and God started to change me. And that's like, man, I'm addicted to turning my life to God, right? It's like he's the only answer, man, and he knows how to answer it well, and he answered it well in my heart, in my life. All right, I'm going to go through these real quick because we need to get moving. Expecting too much of other people. We do that all the time, right? We have to stop expecting too much of other people. The recovery is mine, right? I'm the one responsible for my recovery, not anybody else. So we start to put burdens on other people like it's their responsibility. That's wrong. We should never do that. And what's the solution to do that? What's the solution to that? What do you think? Well, yeah, do the 12 steps. That's what I put on here. Do the 12 steps, right? That will help you with this, right? Because you will get to see a lot of yourself. Ooh, there's another one. Taking recovery for granted, which happens to me, today, right? It's like take it for granted. I don't go and hang out at bars, or anything like that, but um, we just shouldn't be taking it for granted. This is something that God gave us. This is something that God gifted us. Recovery is a gift from God, as far as I'm concerned. And so we don't want to just be blasé about it, right? Sometimes they can begin to romance the bad old days. Yeah, you ever do that? I know when I first recovered, that relapse the first time, it was like, oh yeah, I remember taking that hit. Oh, it was so good. But I don't remember all the rest of the crap after that. I mean, the disgustingness after that, right? Um, don't do that. And sometimes we romance it, but I don't want to do that. And then lastly, because I want to play this song before we go, um, abusing other substances, right? You can substitute. I know a lot of people that they were meth addicts, and they're like, I just have a beer once in a while. More power to you, because I can't do that. I know if I drink, I'm going to go for Coke, and I know if I do Coke, I'm going to drink. I can't do either one. I don't want to. I don't want to chance it. I actually think sometimes I could have a beer, but I don't want to chance it. Isn't right? I don't want to. Right? And so you can use other substances. Meth, change to beer. I don't recommend that to anybody. If you just only were a meth addict, I don't recommend drinking. I don't think it's going to help you at all. And then remember, the four most common relapse triggers are hunger, anger, loneliness, and tiredness. All those things, right? We need to get a good night's sleep, right? That's really important. We need to make sure we don't go too long without eating. We need to make sure we have friends around. If you're in fellowship, you're not going to get lonely. You're going to have all sorts of people to be in your life. When the individuals experience any of these, they will be at higher risk of relapse. Doesn't mean you're going to absolutely relapse, but you might. You're at a higher risk to. So, right. So when you hit a trigger, you hope that you don't pull the trigger, right, and blow it. But that's not. When I pull my trigger, it looks more like this, right? Pull the trigger, right? So this back one, this one before that one is, you can like, I messed up. I can go back and do the right thing, repent and turn away from it, and be all right. But when it gets to this, it's going to take a long time to recover from it, right? That was my relapses like that. All right. Step 4. If you do a step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, you'll find out about if these things, if you're displaying these behaviors in your life, you'll find it. And then in step 10, once you've done your steps, you can stay in step 10, 11, and 12 the rest of your life, right? Constantly go, you know what, I blew it today. I need to call that person and apologize to them. But most of all these things I'm telling you about here are, you can't just do it in your own strength. You got to give it to God. You got to let God do the changes for you. And I tell you right now, and Dave says this all the time, that I wouldn't be clean and sober if it wasn't for my relationship with Jesus Christ. We are a recovery ministry, but we all believe in Jesus Christ here. That's the power. That's my higher power. And I believe in him. And I found this song a long time ago, and it's kind of my genre, or not genre, but I'm not going to share that one. Let's just listen to this song and see the words. It's a great song.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. We got about just over a little over 5 minutes. So, um, oh my goodness, I'm gonna ask that we do keep it to the 2 minutes, please, for sharing. But come on up. This is your time.
Hey guys, I'm Danny. I'm Danny Cooper. I'm over at Menlo Park at the for the VA program, and I just so much is happening for me right now. Like the clinician, and you know, I'm realizing I'm just barely scratching the surface on realizing what my faults were. You know, so I just thank you for this church, and everything that you guys are doing for us, and keeping the faith and keeping that religion out there for Christians, because not many people talk about God like we should. So I thank you guys. Thank you.
I've been living my life mostly trying to prove to myself that I'm not an addict. I've had times of being, I'm not going to say clean because I've never done the steps. I'm not going to say sober because I've never done the steps, but I've been dry. I've been, uh, abstaining. And for long periods of time. And, lately I've been uh, trying to convince myself that I'm not a drug addict because I'm not buying at the dispensary. I'm not buying illegally off the streets. But I can only hardly wait for somebody to say, "Hey, here's a piece." I didn't buy it. I didn't seek it. It just came to me. It's a blessing. But yeah, I've been trying to convince myself that I'm not an addict. But you know what? I have the scars to prove that I am. Abscess, stitches on my finger, a crooked finger, a bent finger from injecting drugs, the abscess, stitches on the finger from dumpster diving, trying to find stuff to recycle so I can continue support my habit. Yeah, and well, it's good to be here. Thank you for R&R. I want to thank the R&R for being here, for the fellowship, and everybody here. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on my own. And I do. I'm not really done the steps or anything, but I do seek support. I try to be honest and with people that I know. I have a few good friends that I can do that with, and family. So I'm a fortunate guy. I'm a fortunate guy. Thank you very much.
You know, I got a few minutes. uh, yeah. Bruce, thank you. I love when because when we talk about recovery, the actual recovery, I don't believe is from drugs and alcohol. It's from behaviors and things that led us to, a way of thinking, our behaviors, our attitude, our these underlying issues that we just dealt with drugs and alcohol. So when you brought up dishonesty, when you brought up depression, you brought up these things. It that's when you stop drinking and using is when you start getting into recovery to deal with these things to change, and that's when you need what you need God for. And it's one of my favorite songs. It's by Casting Crowns. Bruce put me onto this band, and there's not a song they have that I don't like, but it's called Just Be Held, and the words are like, your life's falling apart, or when you feel like your life's falling apart, it's not. It's falling into place. Just let go and be held. I'm on the throne, it says. And in recovery, I there when your life is feeling like it's falling apart, that is, you'll hear Bruce talk about it all the time, and I felt it. That's picking up your cross daily. That means dying to yourself. That means things that you don't think are holding you back from God, or holding, need to go, need to die. It's a whole change in a person, and that's what I seeked and wanted. I wanted to be a completely different person, and I'm definitely a different person, but it's an ongoing process too, seeking the Lord and all that. So thank you, Bruce, for your message, and